Final update. At my brother's engagement party, he raised his glass and said, "To family and to those who finally learn how to be quiet and useful." Everyone laughed. I just smiled, lifted my glass, and said, "To quiet usefulness and to the $8,000 venue deposit I just canceled." The music cut mid-song. His fiancée choked on her drink. My aunt whispered, "Wait, what did he say?" I took a sip and replied, "I don't know if the wedding's officially off or just wobbling," but that was the moment I realized it wasn't just me they'd been using. Brian had turned the whole relationship into another performance for the family, and Rachel was just another prop. It was the first time I felt sorry for her, and it confirmed something else, too. I didn't want any part of that world anymore. Not even a seat in the back row. By then, I blocked most of my family on everything. Calls, texts, social media, even email. I thought maybe they'd take the hint, but entitlement doesn't go down quietly. It finds new doors when old ones close. My work phone started ringing. At first, I thought it was a client, but when I answered, it was my mom. I hadn't even given her the number, which meant she'd called my office and convinced someone to hand it over. She launched right in, no greeting, just accusations. "You're tearing this family apart." I didn't respond, just waited. "I don't care what Brian did. You could have handled this like an adult. You could have come to us, but instead you've dragged our name through the mud, and now Rachel's parents are threatening legal action." I said one thing, "You gave them my work number. That's harassment." She went quiet for a moment, then said something about desperate times. I hung up, blocked the number, then reported the whole thing to my HR department just to cover my bases. That night, Rick came by my place. He had a six-pack and a tired look on his face. Said Diane was still icing him out, called him a traitor, accused him of encouraging my ego. He didn't argue with her. Just packed a bag and left. He was staying at a motel downtown. "If she really thinks I'm the problem, then she's welcome to solve everything without me," he said, without bitterness, like someone who'd already made peace with the fallout. We drank in silence for a while. Then he told me something unexpected. Apparently, my dad had started contacting a lawyer to see if he could force me to repay damages for the canceled event. It wasn't going anywhere. The lawyer basically laughed him out of the office once he realized nothing was in writing, but still, it showed just how far they were willing to go. They'd rather try to sue me than admit I owed them nothing. I thought about everything I'd done for them over the years, paying for my parents' new appliances, covering Brian's credit card debt twice, helping my cousin with her tuition when she suddenly lost her scholarship, which I later found out was a lie. None of it mattered now. They wanted control, not help. So, the next morning, I made it final. I wrote a letter to each of them, nothing dramatic, just a clear written statement that I would no longer be providing financial support of any kind, not for events, emergencies, or future plans. I said I'd already done more than I needed to and that they should stop contacting me. I mailed them, certified. No ambiguity. Then I booked a flight somewhere far, no return date, no itinerary. I didn't even tell Rick where I was going. Just gave him a spare key, asked him to check my mail once in a while, and said I needed to disappear for a bit. He didn't argue. He just nodded, handed me a folded note, and said, "Read it when you land." I left the next day. They had drained everything from me, time, patience, energy, and they still thought I owed them more. But this time, they were going to have to navigate their mess without me. I was done negotiating with people who thought love came with an invoice. I didn't even pack much, one carry-on, a half-planned itinerary, and a flight out of LAX to somewhere humid and quiet. I'd picked a spot in the South Pacific, a place none of them could pronounce, let alone track me to. I wanted no part of the noise, no calls, no texts, no group chats begging me to come back for the next family milestone. I turned my phone off before I boarded. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel anxious doing it. On the plane, I opened Rick's note. It was one sentence: "There's freedom in letting people hate you if it means you finally like yourself." I folded it up and kept it in my wallet. The first week was strange, waking up without notifications, no deadlines, no passive-aggressive messages from family trying to reframe my silence as selfishness. Just sun, salt water, and a rented scooter that took me down coastlines I couldn't name. By the second week, I realized I hadn't thought about any of them in days, not Brian, not my parents, not Diane or her endless judgment. I hadn't wondered what they were plotting or who they were blaming now. I didn't care, except for Rick. I called him from a beachside cafe with patchy Wi-Fi, told him where I was, vaguely, and that I wasn't coming back anytime soon. "You don't owe me a return ticket," he said. "You owe yourself the time they stole." I asked how things were back home. He said Rachel had officially called off the engagement and left Brian. Apparently, after she found out about the account he opened, she started digging deeper. Turned out he'd used part of my original venue deposit to float personal purchases, a new watch, some crypto bets, even tried to buy himself a gaming rig. She confronted him, and he doubled down, blamed her, said it was all Jack's fault for bailing. She packed up the next day. Rick said Brian's been spiraling ever since. My parents tried to pull her family back into the fold, but they're done, too. Apparently, Rachel's dad never cashed the check he offered me, and now he's threatening to send it to Brian with a legal notice attached. "I think they're finally running out of people to point fingers at," Rick said. I asked if he was okay. He said, "Yeah." Diane still wasn't speaking to him, but he was staying with an old friend. He didn't sound bitter, just calm. "I'm proud of you, Jack," he said. "Most people stay plugged in out of guilt. You walked away." I didn't say anything back. I just sat there watching waves roll in, wondering why it took me so long to do something that now felt this natural. I've been here a month now. Maybe I'll stay longer. Maybe I'll find another island. All I know is I haven't looked back. I don't miss them. I don't check their profiles. I don't need to know what lies they're spinning this week. The only person I still talk to is Rick. And that's enough. I used to think cutting off your family was the last resort. Now I know sometimes it's the beginning. The update: I came back after a little over 2 months. Not because anything had changed, not because I missed anyone or wanted to fix things. I just woke up one morning in a little bungalow by the water, looked out at the ocean, and thought, I'm ready to go home. Not for them. For me. The flight back was quiet. No one was waiting at the airport. No text sliding up my screen. No emails asking where I'd been. Honestly, that part felt good. It confirmed everything I already knew. They'd moved on to blaming me in new ways, but they hadn't changed a bit. The silence wasn't peace, it was just more control tactics dressed up as disappointment. I didn't tell anyone I was back right away. Not even Rick. I spent the first few days walking around the city like a stranger. Everything looked the same, but it didn't feel the same anymore. My apartment was still standing, still clean, still mine. But something about it felt emptier in a good way, like I'd cleared out more than just physical clutter. I didn't check my emails. I turned off most notifications. I sat at cafes and watched people complain about things that didn't matter. I laughed when I wanted to. I stopped feeling like I had to plan the next 10 steps. That was new. Rick only found out I was back because my phone auto-connected to the smart lock at my front door, the one he helped me install. I forgot it would alert him. He showed up that evening with takeout, didn't say much, just handed me the bag, kicked off his shoes, and sat down like we'd seen each other yesterday. We ate in silence at first. Then he said Diane finally filed for separation, not divorced yet, but she was out of the house, took a chunk of furniture with her, told him he'd changed like that was a bad thing. Rick said maybe he had. I stopped apologizing for watching people use each other. He said apparently that's a deal breaker. He also told me Brian had moved back in with my parents, jobless, broke, and somehow still playing the victim. Rachel's gone, officially called off the engagement. She left town, moved to Portland, and is apparently doing okay. She sent Rick a message thanking him for not lying to her. He didn't tell her where I'd been, just that I was doing all right. That meant more than he probably realized. The rest of the family is still silent. No apology, no messages, no last-ditch attempts at reconciliation. Just the cold distance of people who resent not getting their way. I don't miss them, and I'm not curious. I finally stopped wondering what they're saying about me. It doesn't matter anymore. I started therapy after Rick left that night, nothing heavy, just once a week. Told the therapist I didn't want to reconnect with my family. I just wanted to stop feeling guilty for walking away. She said, guilt's just a scar from when we used to let people cut too deep. That stuck with me. Work's different now. I stepped back from full-time and picked up freelance contracts, only things I enjoy. I'm earning less, but I sleep better. I cook now, just for myself. I even eat at the table instead of in front of a screen. I don't answer calls I don't want to take. I don't reply to guilt texts. And I haven't paid a single cent toward anyone's mess but my own. I used to think family drama was normal, that every person has to carry it, suffer through it, and find ways to smile through the mess. But the truth is, we get to choose what we carry. And for the first time, I'm not carrying them. I didn't come back to return to who I was. I came back to stay exactly who I became when I left.